Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith. I want to talk to you about Spike Lee. Spike Lee, for me, is a fantastic filmmaker and also a very polarizing one. And one where I either lean on I really like his movies, and that seems to be for the most part, or every now and then he comes out with a movie that I don't tend to like. So, for example, he's got the classics like Malcolm X, Do the Right Thing, Get on the Bus, fantastic films. But then every now and then we might get a movie like Girl 6, which, respectfully, didn't care for too much. He's on a finite list of directors where, without even knowing seeing the credits or knowing who directed the movie, I can watch a Spike Lee film, and because of his certain signature pieces, I can tell you I'm watching a Spike Lee movie. And that was very evident in his most recent film, BlacKKKlansman. Now, this is the film that you've heard about, and yes, it is actually based on a true story. Back in the 70s, Ron Stallworth, an African-American, walked into the Colorado Springs Police Department and became an officer. And he decided he wanted to go undercover, deep undercover, with the Ku Klux Klan. Well, how would this be? Well, he would call them up, speak to them on the phone, but when it came time for a face-to-face, he would sub in his partner, played in this movie by Adam Driver. Yes, Kylo Ren is now a police officer. So this movie sounds comical because you think to yourself, how could this actually happen? I can tell you from my own personal experience working in a call center, there was legit a time I was speaking on the phone with a customer who said to me, I was on the phone with a black man and the black man did this. To which I replied, with all due respect, miss, you're on the phone. How could you tell? Oh, I know when I'm speaking to one of them. Awkward. So that is exactly what happens in this film, because Ron Stallworth is able to transform and speak different types of jargon and different types of ways to convince the person on the other end of the line, David Duke, that he is, in fact, a flag-waving, hating of every single minority, card-carrying, wannabe member of the Klan. And that's where this movie takes off. So, once you get over the comical aspects of this film, and then you remember you're not seeing a Tyler Perry movie, with all due respect, but you're seeing a Spike Lee movie, then it starts to come back and it starts to hit home. Spike Lee does a fantastic job in this film of not only showing what the events in that time were, but also bringing it back to what times are like in 2018. And we all know 2018 the U.S. might not be known as the most racially sensitive place at all times. So, does a very good job of bringing that in, but I also want to give props to John David Washington, Denzel's son, who does a phenomenal job in this movie. I am quite sure that John David, for the most part, went through life saying, how's your dad? What's your dad up to? How awesome is it to be, Denzel's son? I'm pretty sure now Denzel's going into different interviews and meetings and saying, I just saw your son's film. He was phenomenal in it. Your son did an amazing performance. So talk about coming full circle. Spike Lee, though, deserves so much credit for not only the wonderful script and direction of this film, but being able to take on such a role, show the humor in it, but also show the real lifeness of it, and the fact that even though this movie is set in the 70s, he begs the question, how much has changed? With most great Spike Lee movies, as the credits rolled in this film, I found myself feeling very numb and very impressed with what I'd just seen, to the point where a couple days later I was back seeing it again. Without a doubt, BlacKKKlansman is one of the best movies of 2018, and I don't hesitate in giving this movie an A-. Strongly suggest, if you haven't seen it, to check it out, and if you do, I'd love to know what you think. CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WittyWhittier, and WittyWhittier.com. Thank you so much for checking this out. My name is Keith, and I'll see you at the movies.